We'll move to question time, and I call Senator Hume.
Thank you, Madam President. My question.
I do need to hear Senator Hume's question.
My question is to the Minister representing the Prime Minister, Senator Wong. The Prime Minister denied breaking his $275 power wheel promise. He denied breaking his promise on superannuation. He denied breaking his promise not to change taxes on capital gains, on negative gearing and on trusts. He even denied falling off a stage when there was video evidence. Now, after making sexist comments and gestures about Japan's first female Prime Minister, he again refuses to admit the truth, despite the video evidence. Minister, why does the Prime Minister find it so difficult to admit when he is wrong and tell Australians the truth?
Thank you, Senator Hume. Minister Wong.
Well, Senator, I'd make a few responses to the very many aspects of that question. The first, in relation to energy, I would make the point that you were amongst those who oppose the additional assistance for energy for working Australians and their families. In relation to tax cuts, I would refer you, Senator, to the reason why you are known as the Senator for Higher Taxes is that you not only opposed tax cuts but actually referred to those tax cuts as egregious. And when it comes to relationships with other countries, I would refer you to the statement by the Japanese ambassador, which spoke about the personal trust between the two leaders. And I will say what I would say is we know what the O's opposite are seeking to do, which is they have done everything they could this week to create a diplomatic issue between Australia and Japan. Whether the media stunt by Senator Patterson or, and I will say this, the shadow foreign minister's extraordinary move, summoning the Japanese ambassador as part of attempts at political point scoring, that you would actually seek to bring the ambassador in order to try and confect and add to your political stance and to confect a diplomatic issue between Australia and our very good friend in Japan. It is astounding that the shadow foreign minister would seek to do this and undermine the interests of his own country, which of course is to have a strong, trusted relationship with the government of Japan, and that is what this government has done. And I would refer you to all of that has been said by the leader.
Thank you, Minister. Just a moment, Senator Hume. Senator Ruston, you'll withdraw those comments.
Withdraw.
Thank you. Senator Hume, first supplementary.
Thank you, Madam President. Minister, numerous reports today quote Labor parliamentarians saying that the Prime Minister will not apologise because when he gets something in his head, he doesn't back down until he has to. And that is now harder for him to do so because female Labor ministers have publicly defended him. After you defended the Prime Minister, did you advise the Prime Minister that now that you've defended him, he can't come out and admit the truth? Or did he in fact assure you that your defence of him was true?
Thank you, Senator Hume. Order. I want to call the Minister. Order. Senator Ruston, withdraw that comment.
I withdraw.
Minister Wong.
Well, Senator, I would be surprised on this day that you would try and talk about what's in the media from people who are backgrounding about internals. I mean, I have to say I've looked at some of the transcripts briefly and some of the comments briefly in the media by which poor old Senator Bragg is being cut down by those who are around him who are not interested in what he has to say and are very grouchy about it. And, I would invite him to stand up and tell us who he says he knows who's undermining him. I wonder if it's the deputy leader. I hope not. I hope it's not part of what you're doing. But look, I'll come back, Senator. What we have seen is the opposition trying to ensure that they create a diplomatic issue between Australia and Japan. We are two countries who are special strategic partners, and I will continue to do all I can to strengthen that relationship.
Thank you, Minister. Senator, I'm order. Senator Hume, second supplementary.
Minister, in Labor circles, you are a role model to women. You are not merely a member of the government, you are also the leader of the government in the Senate. Now, when the Prime Minister appointed you to that position, was it part of your job description to defend his sexist comments and gestures, and that you had to not tell the truth to this Senate and to the Australian people?
Thank you, Senator Hume. Minister Wong.
I actually am not sure that's worthy of an answer, Senator. And I mean, if you are the deputy leader of a party which seeks to govern, and what you are part of, and you know you are, that you have been part of, Senator, along with others in your side, including remarkably the Shadow Foreign Minister, is to try and ensure that you create a diplomatic issue between Australia and its special strategic partner in Japan. We will continue. We will continue on this side. We will continue on this side to hold fast to what is in Australia's national interest, something that you used to understand, Senator Patterson, that it was in Australia's, it was a bipartisan interest for both parties to support the relationship with Japan. And I think it says something that the modern Liberal Party have walked away from that.
Thank you, Minister. Senator Sheldon.
My question is to the Minister representing the Prime Minister, Senator Wong. This morning, the Prime Minister joined the New South Wales Premier to announce the Albanese Labor government's plan to keep Tomago aluminium open. This is a landmark joint $2.5 billion investment to secure the site's future beyond 2028. Minister, what does this mean for Australians, and why is this decisive action so important in an increasingly uncertain world?
Thank you, Senator Sheldon. Minister Wong.
Thank you, and I thank Senator Sheldon for his question, and I thank him for a lifetime of supporting working people, because what he understands is how important this announcement is for working people and their families in his home state of New South Wales, as well as the importance it shows for the country. At the end of the last year, the Prime Minister went to Tomago and he told workers there, "We have got your back. We have got you back." Well, today Labor is delivering. Labor is delivering. We are delivering to ensure that not only will Tomago survive, but it will thrive into the future. The announcement today is a $2.5 billion investment shared 50-50 between state and federal Labor governments. Together, we are keeping Tomago open. Labor is delivering real change, protecting thousands of jobs in the Hunter. And I'll take the interjections of Senator Ruston. You can't bear it that working people's jobs have been saved, can you? You just can't bear that we have actually delivered an outcome which will support not only jobs but additional renewable energy capacity, and you can't bear it that this government is backing Australian industry. President, this is a long-term plan which supports commercially sustainable operations beyond 2028 and expands renewable capacity in New South Wales. This investment will underpin nearly 3 gigawatts of new renewables and firming capacity. Renewable energy backed by gas and storage, because aluminium is essential to Australian industry, and it is essential that we smelt it here. And this year we have been reminded about how fragile international supply chains can be and why it is that it is so important to ensure economic resilience here in Australia, and that is what Albanese Labor has done.
Thank you, Minister. Senator Sheldon, first supplementary.
Thank you, Minister. Thousands of families thank you as well. The Albanese Labor government is focused on delivering real change that includes change which protects the jobs for the workers at Tomago, supports the supply chains that rely on the aluminium smelted there, and seizes the transformational opportunities that investing in the Australian industry gives us. Minister, how does today's announcement enhance our national resilience today while supporting investment into the critical industries of the future?
Thank you, Senator Sheldon. Minister Wong.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you, President. Well, the investment announced today by the government, by the Albanese Labor government, locks in a long-term future for renewable-powered, low-carbon aluminium, a future that plays to this nation's strengths: clean energy, world-class resources and an existing industrial base.
Senator Colbeck.
Aluminium is essential to produce here. It's a critical component of so much that is manufactured in this country, and we are just one of just a few countries that boast an end-to-end aluminium supply chain. And in an increasingly unstable world, securing Australian domestic production and supporting energy sovereignty are crucial. We are focused on this side on making Australia stronger, safer and more resilient to global shocks, no matter what the world throws at us.
Thank you, Minister. Senator Colbeck, when I call you to order, I expect you to come to order. You are being disrespectful towards me. Senator Sheldon, second supplementary.
The Albanese Labor government is focused on making sure our industries and workers are protected now and well as into the future. Is the minister aware of any obstacles to the government's approach to delivering real change for Australian workers, Australian industry and Australian energy sovereignty?
Thank you, Senator Sheldon. Minister Wong.
Well, what we know is these jobs would not have been protected. This deal would not have been done if those opposite were in power, if the coalition were in power, or if One Nation's position was adopted. We know these jobs would not have been protected. Tomago's owners were crystal clear about why this investment was needed, and I really invite those opposite to answer. Coal power is simply too expensive to keeping it open. Coal power, too expensive. I know these facts, so it's very hard. You can see them getting stressed, can't you, when the facts really don't accord with what's in their head. Because for years we have seen the coalition walk away from cheaper, more reliable electricity and walk over to sit next to One Nation. And now Senator Bragg says he wished he'd done more to stop the madness under Morrison. Stop the madness. Well, we agree. We agree, Senator Bragg.
Thank you, Minister. The time for answering has expired. Senator Kovacic.
My question is to the Minister representing the Prime Minister, Senator Wong. In an awkward moment at a press conference this morning, the New South Wales Premier stepped in to shield the Prime Minister from questions about his lewd comments and hand gestures in relation to the Japanese Prime Minister. Minister, why does the Prime Minister of Australia need the New South Wales Premier to protect him from answering questions about this matter?
Thank you, Senator Kovacic. Minister Wong.
Well, I'm very happy to talk about awkward press conferences, and I think anybody who watched the Leader of the Opposition's press conference today, where he declined to ask multiple questions from a journalist in relation to what is happening in New South Wales before the Commission Against Corruption. I think that is what I saw as an awkward press conference, notwithstanding the behaviour of what that was recorded afterwards. So I think this is a day where really the opposition ought not be asking about awkward press conferences. The Prime Minister was at a press conference today where we announced what this government is doing to deliver real change and to ensure jobs are protected in the Hunter. Jobs are protected in the Hunter. That's what we're about.
Thank you, Minister. I am going to remind, just a moment, Senator Kovacic, I am going to remind the senators on my right that Senator Kovacic has the right to have her question heard in silence. Senator Kovacic.
Before Premier Chris Minns stepped in, the Prime Minister began his answer by saying, I've talked to you today, used my hands before changing tack. Was the Prime Minister seriously trying to explain away the very deliberate and obvious gestures he made in the podcast as simply the normal use of his hands in a conversation?
Order. I'm waiting for order across the chamber. Order. Senator Cash and Senator Ayres. Minister Wong.
Well, Senator, the Prime Minister was in the Hunter to announce what this government has done with very good work, if I can say, from Senator Ayres, the Minister, and others, including the members of Federal Parliament, Ms Swanson. I'll take the interjection from Senator Ruston. You know, only Senator Ruston and the Liberal senator could say there was nothing relevant about Australian jobs. Only a Liberal senator and a member of the leadership team could come into this place and say there's nothing relevant about Australian jobs.
Minister Wong, please resume your seat. Senator Patterson, I'd invite you to look around and see you have a senator on her feet. Senator Kovacic.
President, to relevance, none of that answer to that point had anything to do with my question at all.
Senator Kovacic, the minister is being relevant, and I will remind those on my left that if they make interjections, the minister is entitled to take the interjections. Minister Wong.
Well, Senator Kovacic, the Prime Minister, you've referred to the Prime Minister's press conference. What was important about that press conference is what was being announced, which was the protection of many jobs in this country, and we are very proud of that.
Senator Kovacic, second supplementary.
Minister, this is about honesty and integrity. Just weeks ago, the Prime Minister himself said it was completely unacceptable to demean, objectify, belittle or offend women. The conversation he took part in was demeaning. It objectified women, and many people, including myself, found it offensive. Does the Prime Minister hold himself to the same standard that he expects of the rest of us?
Thank you, Senator Kovacic. Minister Wong.
Thank you, President. Senator, the Prime Minister has dealt with that. Similar questions have been asked of Minister Gallagher, and she has dealt with that. We have responded in full. I appreciate that you want to continue to press on this. As I said to you, the focus of the Prime Minister's press conference today was the fact that the largest aluminium smelter in Australia will continue, and many jobs and industries which rely on that will also continue.
Thank you, Minister. Senator Whish-Wilson, your last question, I presume, in this place.
It is. Everyone's been so friendly, President, I thought I might stay. My question is to the Environment Minister, Murray Watt. Woodside's gas project around Scott Reef off the coast of Western Australia is a massive carbon bomb that will release 1.6 billion tonnes of climate pollution. Scott Reef is a marine biodiversity hotspot with numerous endangered species, and the Western Australian EPA has previously recommended against this project proceeding on this basis. In your approval decision, you are currently considering new attribution science that ties this project's carbon emissions directly to significant coral deaths on our iconic Great Barrier Reef. Minister, can you confirm today that you received more than 70,000 submissions opposing this project in just a few weeks? And what have you got to say to these Australians who care about protecting our oceans and marine life from the greed of fossil fuel companies like Woodside?
Thank you, Senator Whish-Wilson. Minister Watt.
Thanks, President, and thanks, Senator Whish-Wilson. I am glad that you had an opportunity to ask one last question before you depart the Senate, and it has been a pleasure working with you in the years that we've both been here. In answer to your question, I'm obviously well aware that the proposed gas development off the Western Australian coast that's often referred to as the Browse project is a controversial project. There are people in Australia who support that project. There are people in Australia who oppose that project. And I know very well, Senator Whish-Wilson, that you are one of the people who opposes this project. As is always the case, when applications are made for environmental assessments and decisions under the Federal EPBC Act, I will be applying the law of this country. That's what I will be taking into account. And of course, the decision that always needs to be made is whether a particular project is likely to have a significant impact on matters of national environmental significance. Your question, Senator Whish-Wilson, went to the recent application by the Australian Conservation Foundation for a reconsideration of an earlier decision regarding this matter, and the figures that you quoted as to the number of submissions received on that are roughly about right. I don't have the precise number, but it's roughly in the order that you referred to. So what now needs to be decided is whether an additional matter of national environmental significance is likely to be impacted by this project. That decision will be made in accordance with the law, and when that decision is made, we'll have public announcements to make about that.
Thank you, Minister. Senator Whish-Wilson, first supplementary.
Yeah, thanks, President. Minister, one of the first things you did as Environment Minister was approve Woodside's North West Shelf extension out to 2070, which will require gas from Browse to be economic. Minister, are you going to take instructions on Browse from WA Labor, who are practically Woodside lobbyists? Has a political decision to approve this climate-wrecking carbon bomb all but been made? And could you also answer whether you've got any submissions in favour of this project?
Thank you, Senator Whish-Wilson. Minister Watt.
Thanks, President. I'm happy, Senator Whish-Wilson, to provide what information I can about what submissions were received in support of the project. I haven't analysed those submissions at this point. That work is happening now. But I utterly reject the suggestion that the decision that I made regarding the North West Shelf project or any other decision that I or this government has made have been influenced by politics. We have always made the decisions that we've made in accordance with the law. The decision that I made regarding the North West Shelf project has never been properly understood by the Australian Greens. It has constantly been misrepresented by the Australian Greens Party as a decision that went to carbon emissions. If you knew anything about the EPBC Act, you would know that the decision was based on what impacts that project would have on ancient rock art. It wasn't about carbon emissions, but you choose to be ignorant of the facts and to propagate your propaganda.
Thank you, Senator Watt. Senator Whish-Wilson, second supplementary.
Thank you, President. Minister, you are Minister for the Environment and no doubt aware our oceans are at record temperatures and the outlook for this El Nino is very concerning. This is likely to have severe consequences for coral reefs and other marine habitat around our nation. Murray, you're a decent human being. What legacy do you want to leave as our Environment Minister? That you protected our oceans for future generations, or that you sacrificed the environment to protect fossil fuel giant Woodside's profits?
Thank you, Senator Whish-Wilson. Minister Watt.
Thank you for the free character assessment, Senator Whish-Wilson. It's a much more positive one than I'm used to receiving from that corner of the chamber. This government, I'm very proud of being part of a Labor government that is taking strong action on climate change. This government, unlike any other government that we've had in Australia, has set ambitious and achievable targets for the reduction of carbon emissions. We all know, well, most of us who believe the science know, that our reefs, our oceans, our natural environment in general is at great risk due to the impacts of climate change. And that's why our government is taking action to reduce emissions through the expansion of renewable energy, through bringing in new fuel efficiency standards when it comes to motor vehicles, through taking action in agriculture, in heavy industry more generally, the safeguard mechanism. They are the practical policies that are delivering the reductions in carbon emissions that our environment needs and will continue to act on them.
Senator O'Neill.
Thank you very much, President. And my question is to the Minister for Industry and Innovation, Senator Ayres. This morning, you and the Prime Minister announced the Albanese Labor government's plan to secure the future of Tomago aluminium and secure a thriving industrial future for the Hunter. Minister, how will this investment strengthen the job security of Hunter workers and the local economy? And what does this investment mean for the future of Australia's manufacturing capability?
Thank you, Senator O'Neill. Minister Ayres.
Thanks, President, and thanks to Senator O'Neill and for your advocacy for industrial development in New South Wales. Tomago Aluminium is Australia's youngest and largest and most efficient aluminium processing facility. This deal delivers certainty for that facility beyond 2028 through to 2038-39. It delivers jobs and investment for the 1,000 direct employees and the 5,500 jobs that rely upon that facility. In December, the Prime Minister stood with me in the rain at Tomago Aluminium, a facility that I've been going to for the last 25 years. And he said to those workers, some of them whom I know very well, that we have your back. We have your back. And today,
Senator Ayres, please resume your seat. Minister Wong.
I wonder if we, point of order, disruptive behaviour, I would ask if Senator McDonald could perhaps just at least pause in her interjections.
I quite agree with you, Minister Wong. I have been calling order. Senator McDonald, I am appealing to you directly to cease and desist. Thank you. Minister Ayres, please continue.
And today, in a shared approach with New South Wales, and never forget that when this facility was established, it was established by the Labor government of Neville Wran, who built the electricity infrastructure that was required to deliver that colossal investment. And it falls to two Labor governments to do that again, to build the electricity infrastructure that was never built by those people over there, that will sustain this facility and those thousands and thousands of jobs for years and years to come. We have industrial investment in the Hunter for as far as the eye can see. Hundreds and hundreds of apprenticeships will be delivered because of the decision of this government to deliver in the national interest not just a future made in Australia, but a future made in the Hunter that will strengthen Australia's industrial capability and, in uncertain times, make Australia stronger and make Australia fairer.
Just a moment, Senator O'Neill. Senator Colbeck, I have called and called you during question time. I appreciate you have strong feelings on this matter. I invite you to find a place in the agenda next week to make your views known to the chamber, but not at question time. Senator O'Neill, first supplementary.
Thank you, President. Minister, the Albanese Labor government has made it a priority to deliver more affordable, more renewable and more secure energy for Australia. Minister, how does the government's announcement help deliver cheaper energy, and how will it deliver greater certainty for industry in Australia?
Thank you, Senator O'Neill. Minister Ayres.
Well, thanks, President. Thanks, Senator O'Neill. I've never watched Late Night Sky in my life, and it's very rare. It's very rare for me to agree with something that Mr. Joyce from the other place said. But last night he said, because Rio Tinto has done a greater assessment on Australia's energy policy than anybody else, and indeed they have. Because what Rio Tinto, one of the owners of this facility, says is that coal-fired electricity is the problem. Coal-fired electricity is the problem. And it was the electricity failure of those opposite that has caused the problem and made electricity unaffordable. If they were in power, continuing to build no power, this facility would close, and it's fallen to us to fix the problem that you created.
Thank you, Senator Canavan. Come to order. This is not an opportunity to see who can shout the loudest. Senator O'Neill, second supplementary.
Can I just thank you for being such a mighty champion for the Great Hunter? Not as good as the Central Coast, of course, but nearly there. Tomago is one of the largest energy users in New South Wales, and this investment clearly demonstrates the Albanese Labor government's commitment to working in partnership with state governments and industry to deliver innovative solutions and better energy infrastructure. Minister, how does this government's investment improve energy infrastructure, and are there any obstacles that might be standing in the way?
Thank you, Senator O'Neill. Minister Ayres.
Well, this government is all about electricity additionality. And what this plan does is delivers more generation. There are alternative views. The problem was those opposite when they were in government. And there was nobody more of an architect than Mr Taylor, who was for a time, over that period, the Energy Minister. Who was the Energy Minister. And he presided over that period of decline and delay and deferral. And what that meant was that electricity became far too expensive for firms like Rio Tinto. But we know what Mr Taylor thinks about these questions, because when he was a consultant, his advice to the aluminium industry was go to China. That was Mr Taylor's advice, was go to China. He said in aluminium we're missing our chance to replace uncompetitive processing
with bauxite
thank you,
exports.
Minister. The time
He
for
was
answering
all for
has
sending
expired.
this.
Minister Ayres, resume your seat. Senator Scarr.
Thank you, President. My question is to the Minister representing the Prime Minister, Senator Wong. Yesterday, my friend and colleague, Senator Dean Smith, asked you about the impact of Labor's proposed trust tax on Australian charities and not-for-profit organisations. It has been estimated that these changes could cost charities and not-for-profits $2.9 billion in lost giving over the next 5 years. Minister, you've now had overnight to get the answer. I recognise it's not your portfolio. Will you guarantee today that Australian charities and not-for-profits will not lose out because of Labor's tax changes? Yes or no?
Thank you, Senator Scarr. Minister Wong.
Thank you, President. I thank Senator Scarr for the question, and I have a great deal of respect for that senator, but I would disagree. I thought I answered it when in relation to Senator Smith's question, and I'm not sure I do have anything further to add, but I will just reiterate what I have been advised. First, that the government has made amendments to ensure deductible gifts and donations that reduce capital gains that are subject to the minimum tax to maintain tax incentives in relation to charitable giving. I think I mentioned in response to Senator Smith that the budget papers did make clear that minimum tax would not apply to charitable trusts, and I also made clear that DGR status would continue to be tax deductible for discretionary trusts. I think I also said that we are consulting on a range of implementation details around the minimum tax on trusts, and that includes the appropriate arrangements for donations, distributions to charities and other tax-exempt entities. Now, I'm not sure there's anything further I can give you on that, Senator, because this is subject to that consultation process that I referenced when I responded to Senator Smith. But as always, if you would like me to see if there's anything further I can, I would be happy to do so.
Thank you, Minister. Senator Scarr, first.
Thank you, President. Well, Minister, I would like you to obtain further advice, because it is concerning that the advice you're being given is not engaging with the fundamental point that this arises out of a change to the tax arrangements on discretionary trusts.
Order.
The majority of charitable giving is not made on a tax-deductible basis. It's estimated 70% of donations fall outside that category. So why did the government announce this tax change without first working out what it would mean for the charitable sector?
Thank you, Senator Scarr. I'm waiting for order. Minister Wong.
Well, Senator Bragg, I think that's what I was referencing in my first answer, which is amendments that the government has made to ensure that donations and deductible gifts reduce capital gains subject to the minimum tax. And the purpose of that, as I understand it, and obviously these are matters in the Treasury portfolio, but as I understand it, is to maintain the taxation incentives which currently exist in relation to charitable giving.
Senator Scarr, second supplementary.
Well, again, Minister, with all due respect, and you acknowledge, and I recognise it's not your portfolio, but it's not engaging with the fundamental point that 70% of charitable giving is not given on a deductible gift basis. That's the issue. So the change in the taxation of discretionary trusts will have a negative impact, estimated at $2.9 billion. So again, I ask you, will you guarantee today that not $1 of charitable giving will be lost because of Labor's tax changes?
Thank you, Senator Scarr. Minister Wong.
Well, Senator, thank you for the outline of the issue. As you will know, a number of these changes do not come in for some time, and I have outlined in response. Senator Ruston, I'm looking forward to her contribution in this debate.
Order.
Oh.
Order.
Maybe she had to counsel Andrew too.
Senator Ayres, order applies to you.
Very sorry.
Well, Senator, a number of these changes do not come in for some time, as you would know. The advice I have is the government is
Senator Bragg, I've called for order.
Actually, it was Senator Smith.
It was Senator Smith.
All right. He was actually quiet.
Senator Bragg.
As I indicated, we are consulting on a range of implementation details around the minimum tax on trusts, and that includes the—
That's time. Thanks, Minister. Senator Brown.
Thank you. My question is to the Minister for Women, Senator Gallagher. Ending gender-based violence is a national priority for the Albanese Labor government. Tragically, women and children are still losing their lives at the hands of men who use violence. What is the government doing to address gender-based violence, and what has it heard from consultations on the next phase of the National Plan to End Violence Against Women and Children 2022-2032?
Thank you, Senator Brown. Minister Gallagher.
Thank you, President, and I thank Senator Brown for that question. It's been an ongoing piece of work, how we address violence against women and children in this country. That has been a priority for this government since we were elected. And I would like to start by acknowledging that, again, yesterday we heard the very heartbreaking news of another woman who has been allegedly killed by an ex-partner. And I know that everyone in this chamber's thoughts are with her family, friends and community as they deal with this just unimaginable loss. Yesterday I joined the Prime Minister, the Minister for Social Services and the Assistant Minister for the Prevention of Family Violence at a roundtable to hear from experts, service deliverers and those who had lived with the experience of violence in their homes. This is part of the work that has been led by the Minister for Social Services, Tanya Plibersek, on the second action plan consultations under the National Plan to End Violence Against Women and Children 2022 to 2032. Across government, we've already held more than 160 roundtables with over 1,100 people, and we've heard from almost 2,000 people online who are providing direct submissions. The messages that have been provided through these consultations are that Australians want men's violence against women to stop. They want better responses to when violence occurs. They want to acknowledge that that sexual violence against women is increasing, and that the changing nature of tech-facilitated abuse and the new ways it can be used to harm, control and abuse women and children is making the task harder. I think there are agreement of the emerging themes coming out of these consultations to prevent violence using evidence-based approaches, to intervene as early as possible, to keep people safe and to reduce the risk of reoccurrence and escalation.
Thank you, Minister. Senator Brown, first supplementary.
Thank you, and thank you, Minister. We know there are no simple solutions and that action is needed in every area. For instance, we have seen how perpetrators can weaponise government and legal systems to control, harass and financially harm victim survivors. What is the Albanese Labor government hearing about system abuse through these consultations, and what action is being taken to address it?
Thank you, Senator Brown. Minister Gallagher.
Thank you, and I thank Senator Brown for the supplementary question. And as Senator Brown alluded to, systems abuse is one of the most consistent themes coming out of the consultations, where perpetrators weaponise courts, child support, Centrelink and other services to continue coercive control after separation. The tactics are financial, debt, delay, non-payment, vexatious applications, and children are caught in the middle, going without the support that they are entitled to. We know that almost $2 billion exists in unpaid child support across Australia, and almost 100,000 parents and carers in the child support systems have experienced or are at risk of family and domestic violence. That's why in this budget we have increased investment to make sure that we can do the reforms to the child support systems, the biggest reforms in 20 years, to reduce the systemic weaponisation of the child support system.
Thank you, Minister. Senator Brown, second supplementary.
Thank you. Minister, it is clear that we cannot address violence against women in isolation. Since day one, we have seen the Albanese Labor government make women's equality, including women's economic security, a core priority. How have the government's efforts in this space improved economic outcomes for women in Australia, and how has this helped improve women's safety?
Thank you, Senator Hanson. Minister Gallagher.
Senator Brown, thank you, Senator Brown, for the supplementary. And again, as Senator Brown points out, we are using every lever available to reduce the rates of violence against women and children. And we think part of the answer sits with making sure that women are getting a better deal when it comes to economic security. So we know that having the opportunity to work if you want, work and get well paid and have the support you need through payments and other services is important to show that women can leave violent situations and set up a new life. And today's data that we've had come out shows that some of those measures are starting to show in the data that's coming, with the gender pay gap at 11.3%, the lowest on record. When we came to government, it was 14.1%. We've got it down to 11.3%. More work to do, but women are earning $325 more a year than they were when we came to government, on average.
Thank you, Minister Gallagher, and apologies, Senators Brown and Hanson. Senator Hanson.
Thank you. Well, my question is to the Minister for Environment and Water, Senator Watt. Rushy Lagoon is Tasmania's largest farm and one of its most significant beef, dairy, sheep and cropping properties. The Albanese Labor government has approved the sale of Rushy Lagoon to foreign owners who intend to convert productive farmland into forest for carbon credits. The sale to foreign owners was made over the top of Australian bidders who would keep the property as farmland. The purchase was only viable because the Commonwealth-owned Clean Energy Finance Corporation is providing $69 million in taxpayer money in the purchase, on top of $8.8 million grant. Minister, what business does your agency have interfering in land purchases, encouraging foreign companies to turn Australia's productive farmland into carbon credits and putting our national food security at risk?
Thank you, Senator Hanson. Minister Watt.
Thanks, Senator Hanson. President, Senator Hanson has directed the question to me, but the matter actually involves either the Treasurer, as the Minister overseeing foreign investment decisions, or the Climate Change Minister overseeing climate ACCUs and those sorts of issues. So, Senator Hanson, you can take your pick as to who you'd like to direct that question to.
I'll just ask Senator Hanson. Senator Hanson, did you wish to redirect that question to Senator Ayres?
I understand it does cover the Clean Energy Corporation plus also the Foreign Investment Review Board, so I suggest who's prepared to answer the question truthfully.
No, Senator Hanson, it's up to you where you direct your question. It's not up to me. The suggestion has been, okay. Minister Ayres, you need to inform me whether you want me to redirect the question or not.
Under what clarify the point. Under what portfolio is Senator Ayres going to answer this question?
Senator Hanson, Minister Watt is climate change and energy, and Mr. Ayres is Senator Ayres is climate change. So the suggestion from order, the suggestion is that the question be redirected to Minister Ayres, but of course it is your prerogative to choose where your question goes, but you might be limited in your answer.
I possibly will be, but anyway, Minister Ayres.
Thank you, Senator Hanson. Minister Ayres.
Thank you, and thanks, Senator Hanson, for that question. Rushy Lagoon will remain a working property, with agriculture continuing alongside new plantation forestry, an industry that this government supports, and environmental restoration. The Tasmanian Department of Natural Resources and Environment uses a land capability classification system to assess land for agricultural uses. Class 1 is the best. Class 7 is the poorest country. The state policy for protection of agricultural land seeks to protect prime agricultural land from conversion to non-agricultural uses. It achieves this by setting constraints as to how prime land can be used. The Tasmanian government classifies Rushy Lagoon's lands as generally Class 5 and Class 6, and they are not considered prime agricultural land. But this is not a choice. This is not a choice between farming and forestry. Both are important industries that this project will submit. And I've heard Senator Canavan's in ejections. This facility,
Canavan
this
and
farm, was owned by foreign
Minister Ayres,
owners.
please resume your seat. Senator Canavan. This is Senator Hanson's question. She's entitled to be hearing the response in silence. Senator Colbeck. The disrespect towards me when I've called order this afternoon from particular senators is disgraceful and it needs to stop. Minister Ayres, please continue.
And of course there is some history to this. I have to say in July 2020, Mr Taylor, as the then responsible minister, pushed a map of 5 priority regional hubs for plantation forestry ACCUs. And guess what? Northern Tasmania, including this parcel of land, is in one of those regions selected by Mr Taylor. He said reducing red tape for projects located in the 5 regional forestry hubs will support regional jobs and investment, including in communities hard hit by last summer's bushfires. That was the Liberal plan for Rushy Lagoon.
Thank you, Minister Ayres. The time for answering has expired. Senator Hanson, first supplementary.
Minister, the chair of the Clean Energy Finance Corporation, Stephen Scala, is also a member of the Foreign Investment Review Board that approved the sale of Rushy Lagoon to a foreign owner. Was a conflict of interest declaration made, and was this provided to you? Did Stephen Scala recuse himself from the Review Board decision on Rushy Lagoon, and was this disclosed to you?
Thank you, Senator Hanson. Minister Ayres.
Well, of course, it wasn't advised to me, Senator Hanson. I'm the minister responsible in this chamber for representing Minister Bowen. But what I'm advised is that the answer is yes.
Senator Hanson, second supplementary. Order.
Minister, given this sale was personally approved by Treasurer Jim Chalmers, is it your government's policy to replace productive farmland with carbon credit schemes in the pursuit of net zero?
Order. 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 Minister Ayres.
I'm not sure I fully understand that question, Senator Hanson. What I can say is that the forestry side of the project will be staged over 5 years. Good forestry jobs, supporting local contractors and workers during planting, as well as vital long-term forestry and processing jobs for Tasmanians in the state's north. There will be millions of dollars in new planting, fencing, irrigation, infrastructure and rehabilitation of buildings and degraded land. Around 190 jobs for northern Tasmania delivered as a result of this project on land that, don't forget, is not prime agricultural land, is classified by the Tasmanian government as level 5 and level 6. It's good for forestry, it's good for agriculture, it's good for northern Tasmanian jobs. No wonder you lot all oppose this project.
Senator Polley.
President, my question is to the Minister representing the Minister for Resources, Senator Farrell. Australia is home to some of the world's largest deposits of critical minerals and rare earths, which are essential for clean energy technologies and advanced manufacturing, who provide Australian jobs, I might add. How is the Albanese Labor government working with the industry and international partners to build Australia's sovereign critical minerals capabilities and secure our place in the global supply chain?
Thank you, Senator Polley. Minister Farrell.
Thank you, President, and thank Senator Polley for her incisive question there about critical minerals and rare earths, because they are vital to Australia's economic future and to our national security. They are minerals the world needs for clean energy, advanced manufacturing, aerospace, defence and technologies Australians use every single day. That's why the Albanese Labor government has a very clear plan. We're building new processing capacity here at home, where we are creating good, high-paying Australian jobs right around the country. And we're working closely with trusted international partners to diversify the global supply of these important minerals. Under our framework, Senator Polley, as agreed between Australia and the United States just recently, the United States will invest more than $500 million to support the Sunrise Energy Metals scandium project near Dubbo, not that far from here, in New South Wales. It's one of the world's largest and highest-grade scandium projects, and important applications. It has important applications in aerospace and clean energy. And this project will create about 100 construction jobs and about 60 ongoing jobs. Labor is delivering real outcomes. That means more investment, that means more capabilities, and it means more secure supply chains for Australia.
Thank you, Minister. Senator Polley, first supplementary.
Thank you, Minister. The Albanese Labor government's Future Made in Australia's agenda is aimed at ensuring more of that value is created here at home. How is the work strengthening Australia's economic security, supporting regional jobs and helping Australians' resource sector capture more value from our natural resources, including those from Tasmania?
Thank you, Senator Polley. Minister Farrell.
Thank you, President, and thanks Senator Polley for her first supplementary question and its particular reference to Tasmania, because no government has mobilised more support or delivered more results for critical minerals than this Albanese Labor government. We're delivering a production tax credit to support critical minerals processing projects in Australia, and that's starting from the 1st of July 2027, less than 6 months away. And we are delivering the Critical Minerals Strategic Reserve, which has already enabled a final investment decision for the Arafura Rare Earths project in the Northern Territory, which I'm shortly going to go and visit. We're committed to establishing that reserve because these minerals are essential to the modern and the future economy, and we've delivered on that commitment. The results in this results in
Thank you, Minister. The time for answering has expired. Senator Polley, second supplementary.
Thank you again, Minister, for your answer. As global competition for critical minerals intensifies, industry has highlighted the need for government support, strategic partnerships and investment certainty. How is the Albanese Labor government addressing these challenges, and is the Minister aware of any obstacles to strengthening Australia's critical mineral industry, economics, resilience and the future jobs here in Australia?
Thank you, Senator Polley. Minister Farrell.
Thank you, President. And I think you can guess. I think you can guess where those obstacles are going to be, Senator Polley. No one country alone can create secure end-to-end supply chains in critical minerals and rare earths. That's why the Albanese Labor government is working with our trusted partners to attract investment, secure supply chains and build more capability.
Minister Farrell, please resume your seat. Senator Polley.
Point of order, President. Can't even hear the answer to my question, which is an important question to our economy.
Order. Order. You're exactly right, Senator Polley, and you will note that I did call those disruptive senators to order, and I'll remind them again the minister has the right to put his answers in silence. Minister Farrell.
Thank you for that protection, President. But those opposite, these people over here, pose a real risk to our approach. Are you listening, Senator Canavan? They opposed the Critical Minerals Strategic Reserve. They opposed the National Reconstruction Fund. They opposed the Critical Minerals Production Tax Incentive even before they knew what it was. And they refused to support the single largest investment of any government ever in the resources sector.
Thank
but
you,
this
Minister.
is not
the
new.
The time for answering has expired. Senator McDonald.
My question is to the Minister representing the Prime Minister, Senator Wong. Japanese energy companies are already signing major long-term LNG supply agreements with the United States, while Japanese industry has warned that uncertainty around Labor's gas policies risks undermining confidence in Australia as a reliable long-term supplier. Minister, after decades in which Japan has relied heavily on Australian LNG, why is Labor making Australia a less certain place for Japan to secure its future energy needs?
Thank you, Senator McDonald. Minister Wong.
The one thing I do agree with Senator McDonald on in that question is the importance of Japanese investment in Australia, including but not limited to the Australian gas industry. I would again make the point that we on this side regard our relationship with Japan as a relationship of trust, a relationship that we give great priority to, and a relationship where there is a great deal of trust and strategic alignment. In relation to the gas reservation, you would be aware that the government has made a set of announcements. It is engaging with international partners and the industry about how that reservation is to be designed in accordance with the principles that Cabinet has agreed and ministers have announced. We are very conscious of the importance of consulting with the sector about how we give effect to that reservation policy. We are very conscious of the various policy objectives which are at play here, and those policy objectives include ensuring that we have sufficient gas for Australia on which we can continue to build Australian jobs, ensuring certainty for investors and encouraging more investment, including investment from our friends in Japan into bringing on further supply in the gas industry. So the government is working through that. We're, as I said, very conscious of the importance of all of those policy objectives, and we are working through that in a sensible and mature way.
Thank you, Minister. Senator McDonald, first supplementary.
Minister, Japanese buyers are locking in decades of LNG supply from the United States and Qatar at the same time as Australian LNG exports to Japan are forced to decline substantially. Does the Prime Minister accept that policy uncertainty in Australia is giving our competitors an opportunity to take market share that should be supporting Australian jobs, investment and export income?
Thank you, Senator McDonald. Minister Wong.
Well, Senator, what I would say to you is it is important to ensure we maximise the benefit to our country of Australia's gas reserves. And that requires us to first ensure that we maintain a market which enables investment certainty, which enables the investments of billions of dollars, and they are multi-billion-dollar projects to bring on gas to the market. It is also important to ensure that Australians and Australian jobs are benefited by the gas reserves we have. And we want us to not only be a good exporter, but we want us to do more. We want to actually ensure that we have sufficient gas in domestic supply to enable manufacturing jobs in this country and advanced manufacturing jobs in this country. You talk a lot on your side of politics about the importance of energy. Well, this is an example of how energy security underpins economic.
Senator McDonald, second supplementary.
Minister, Japan is one of Australia's most important economic and strategic partners. Why has the Prime Minister allowed uncertainty over Australian gas supply to become another source of concern in the relationship? And what guarantee can you give today that Australia will remain a reliable, long-term LNG supplier to Japan?
Thank you, Senator McDonald. Minister Wong.
Of course, we will remain a reliable, long-term supplier of LNG to Japan. I think we have demonstrated that as a nation across a number of decades. I would also say to you, Senator, and I would also say to you, Senator, that we want to ensure we maximise the benefit to Australia from Australian gas supplies, and that means not only an export industry, which will continue decades into the future, but also ensuring that we would be. Well,
Order.
Senator, we have a fundamental difference, and we saw it in your interjections on Tomago. We actually think there is a place for Australian manufacturing jobs, and we think that ensuring that there is a secure supply of energy in this country is central to continuing to build the economic complexity and advanced manufacturing we need.
Thank you,
and we are
Minister. The
committed
time
to
for
both.
answering has expired. Senator De Liga.
Thanks, President. My question is to the Minister representing the Minister for Employment and Workplace Relations, Senator Watt. The Albanese Labor government is delivering real change for Australian workers by helping Australians earn more and keep more of what they earn. New wage data released today by the ABS has shown that average weekly earnings have again increased. Minister, how important is the government's position on boosting wages in improving the lives of Australians?
Minister Watt.
Well, thanks, Senator De Liga, and thank you for your many years of advocacy for working Australians, something that's shared by many on this side of the chamber. The Albanese Labor government is helping Australians earn more and keep more of what they earn by lifting wages and cutting taxes for Australian workers. New data from the Australian Bureau of Statistics out today shows average weekly full-time earnings have now increased by more than $300 per week since the Albanese government was elected, and isn't Senator Hume grumpy about that? And that means more money in people's pockets since we came to government, and more money again since the beginning of this year. These figures show our policies on wages and the cost of living are delivering real change for Australians. Average weekly earnings growth is much stronger under this government after a decade of Liberal and National Party governments that delivered a deliberate policy of wage stagnation, backed all the way by their allies in One Nation. Since coming to office, wages have grown under Labor by an annualised average of 4.2% compared to 2.5% under our predecessors. Average weekly ordinary full-time earnings are now $2,084 per week or higher per year, or $180,350 per year. Women are big beneficiaries of the substantial increase in average weekly earnings under Labor. Along with the increase in average weekly earnings in today's data, we've seen the gender pay gap fall to another record low of 11.3%. The gender pay gap has now fallen 2.8 percentage points under this government, ensuring that women workers get the better pay they deserve. And by contrast, the gender pay gap was stagnant in the 4 years prior to the 2022 election. We're acting to boost wages, close the gender pay gap, deliver workplace relations reforms and secure pay rises for some of the lowest paid workers in our community, and that compares very well to the coalition who admitted low wages were part of their economic architecture.
Watt. Time for answering has expired. Senator De Liga, first supplementary.
Thank you, President. Thanks, Minister. The Albanese Labor government is united in our efforts to boost wages for working Australians. This has been a position that has been endorsed by our party members, our caucus and our cabinets, and the Prime Minister. How vital is unity in providing policy certainty for working Australians?
Thank you, Senator De Liga. Minister Watt.
Well, Senator De Liga, I can say that the Labor Party is completely united in the work we've done to raise the wages of working Australians. And how does that compare to the Liberal Party? Well, haven't we had an insight into their unity from Senator Bragg's big day out yesterday? Now, in fairness to Senator Bragg, industrial relations may have been the one policy area where he didn't give what his leader has now described as Senator Bragg's personal policy opinion, because he certainly freelanced on a whole range of other issues, seemingly at odds with his leader and his party, whether that was on migration, on housing or even raising the GST. Now, Senator Bragg's colleagues have had a bit to say, mostly anonymously. One unnamed colleague of— Are you owning up, Senator Cash?
Not even in your seat.
Are you owning up, Senator Cash?
Well, no.
Maybe Senator Cash was the unnamed colleague who described Senator Bragg's speech as being by Bragg for Bragg. Which was it, Senator Cash? I reckon it was Senator Patterson personally, or was it Senator Hume? Who would it be? Well, Senator Bragg helpfully offered to identify who was leaking on him. Why don't you do it now?
Order. Senator De Liga, second supplementary.
Thank you, President, and thank you, Minister. Australians are doing it tough right now, with cost of living pressures continuing to impact families all around the country. Boosting the wages of working Australians is one of the best ways to help people with those cost of living pressures. What else is the Albanese Labor government doing to ensure Australians earn more and keep more of what they earn? And how does that compare with other policy positions, whether they be official or personal?
Thank you, Senator De Liga. Minister Watt.
Well, Senator De Liga, the Albanese Labor government is about higher wages and tax cuts for working Australians. And in contrast, what we saw yesterday from Senator Bragg was floating raising the GST. Now, personally, when I look at Senator Bragg, I see a little bit of Matt Damon over there. He's the Liberal Party's Odysseus. You can picture it now, Senator Bragg strolling out of Hoyt's Broadway Cinema in Sydney last weekend after watching Christopher Nolan's 3-hour epic and thinking to himself, what would Odysseus do?
Order.
I'll just put all my wacky personal policy ideas into a big Trojan horse, I'll wheel it into the National Press Club and we'll see how it goes. That'll show them. But unlike the movie, for Senator Bragg, our modern Liberal Party Odysseus was not successful. Cut down by the Trojans in the Liberal Party, shamed for his original thinking, panned by his colleagues, including a stinging rebuke today from his opposition leader. What an absolute mess. Cuts and chaos from Liberals and One Nation, that's what we would see.
The time for answering has expired. Minister Wong.
Thank you, President. I ask that further questions be placed on notice.